We welcome you here. No matter your age, your size, or how you speak, you are welcome here. No matter the color of your skin, your hair, or your eyes, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how your family is composed, you are welcome here. Whether your ability to contribute comes in the form of time, talent, or treasure, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. Come with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. You are welcome here. Our opening hymn this morning is Gather the Spirit, number 347 for those of you that don't have your hymnal.
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. May we shine a light of love, may we shine a light of love. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of love. May we shine a light of hope. May we shine a light of hope. With every thought, with every step we take, may we shine a light of hope. For our time for all ages this morning, I have a story to share with you. It is called The First and the Last, and it's a reflection on the words of Jesus. So this is written by Martha Dallas. Everyone here knows from experience that life is not fair, right? Raise your hand if you know life is not fair. We all know this. And I really don't think life has ever been fair. But what can we do? We generally just shrug and accept it. It's not fair. But there was once a man who refused to just shrug off injustice in the world. Life was not fair, but that was not okay with him. This man was a great and wise teacher, and also a prophet. Millions of people around the world are inspired still by his teachings, and his name was Jesus. Jesus stood up and spoke out and fought for fairness and for justice. In fact, he said something about this, which is a little bit curious. He said, "The last shall be first, and the first shall be last." I'm not exactly sure what he meant by this, and my guess would be that there are many ways that you could interpret it. But I have an idea of one way that we could think about understanding this. We might think about what it feels like to be first and what it feels like to be last. So let's all think right now about what it feels like to be first. Close your eyes and think of a time where you had this experience, or you can imagine what it would feel like. How does it feel to be first, to be best, to be number one, to come out on top? What do these things feel like? Now, what about being last? What does that feel like, do you think? How does it feel to be the worst, to be on the bottom, to have the least, to have hardly anything, perhaps nothing? What do you think that feels like? Thank you for taking the time to reflect on those feelings of being first and being last. You see, I think that fairness and justice might have a chance if the people who know what it feels like to be first, because they've been first so much that they're really familiar with it, if these people can come up to understand what it feels like, what it really feels like to be last. And I think the world might start to become a little bit more fair and balanced for everyone if the people who already know too well what it feels like to be last, because they're so often last, they so often come in at the bottom and have the least. If these people can come to know what it feels like for a change to actually come out on top, to be first, I can imagine that if those who are usually last and those who are usually first could share those feelings and their experience with one another, that each might begin to experience a transformation, an act of becoming. When we share our feelings with one another in a way that is safe, and when we listen to one another with trust and compassion, that way we can begin to transform one another on the inside. When these different experiences touch, change can occur. And when we start to change on the inside, we'll begin to act differently out in the world. And we'll act more and more for justice.
Thank you, Chelsea. Our centering words this morning come from Albert Einstein and Thomas Merton. Albert Einstein said, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And Thomas Merton said, "Our job is to love others without stopping to inquire whether or not they are worthy." Our special music this morning comes from our UUCGV choir, Blessed. This community of care is created through our work and time together, our commitment to one another, This is our covenant to walk together in loving fellowship, to share our hopes and values. As we take this moment of gratitude and pass our virtual basket, we thank you for this blessed community, all the friendships and the love within it on this beautiful Easter morning. Let us now take a moment of gratitude as we enter into this beautiful music with I Know This Rose Will Open.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know this rose will open. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open.
This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to its life, we affirm our lives within it.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
I know this rose will open. This is the refrain that has been going through my head all week. And when I would think about my sermon for today, for Easter, for the first Easter after, and I can't really say after, in the midst of a global pandemic, and after a contentious election and hundreds of thousands of people dead, and a new vaccine, and yet another police officer on trial this week for the death of an unarmed man, I know this rose will open were the only words I could come up with. And that is not 6 pages worth of words for a full sermon. So why? Why are these the words that are coming to me in the year 2021 for Easter? The Easter message is usually about hope. And yet, this year, when I think of these words, these are not words of hope. The words to the song aren't, I hope this rose will open. I hope my fear will burn away. No, the words are, I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. And I want us to take some time on this because this is an important distinction. The difference between knowing something and hoping something is big. Hope always leaves room for doubt. When you know something, you feel it as a truth in the deepest part of you. And the knowing is where you get your strength. The caterpillar doesn't hope to become a butterfly, it just does. The rose doesn't hope to open, it simply blooms. We don't hope to expand our human consciousness, we just do so in our own divine time. There really is no hope to it. It is simply a natural process of unfolding and becoming. And so today I realize the Easter story isn't really about hope. It was and is about opening up to an unfolding awareness of a larger reality which always exists and of which we are all a part. And not everybody got it. Not everybody believed it. And 2,000 years later, most of us still don't understand it. But it was never about hope. When the women went to the tomb on Sunday morning, there was no hope. There was only grief. They were going to the tomb to grieve the loss of their son and their friend. And then there was surprise and a new reality that they'd never dreamed of, and they were invited to understand the world in a new way. But it wasn't about hope. It was about awakening and expansion, and the expansion and the awareness of human consciousness. And it was about a new paradigm of what life is really about. And this is what is happening to us here in the year 2021. We are waking up every day to a new reality, to an ever expanding understanding of the vast universe of which we are a part. Every day we have a new example of our truly interconnected nature of all of the world and humanity right now. On any given Sunday, we may have people from all over the world joining us for Zoom. We've had people from Mexico join us, we've had people from France join us, and all over the United States right now. I can put something on Facebook and it can go all over the world instantaneously. There is a virus that originates in one country, and within 6 months, the entire world is impacted and shutting down. You have one ship that blocks a canal, and the world's shipping market comes to a standstill. And so what does this new level of interconnection mean for world religions and theologies? What does it mean for the ancient traditions and understanding of the nature of ultimate reality? And what happens when it all comes together as the interconnected web of life, of universal consciousness, of collective consciousness? For years now, brain surgeons are saying there is more to life than what we see. Quantum physicists are saying there is more to life than what we understand. Government agencies are saying there is more to life than what has been revealed. And so where does this leave traditional theology? And is it time to expand our understanding and open our minds a little bit to things we never even thought about? Gary Dolezal posted on Facebook the other day a pie chart that I'm not going to show because I realized it has some words not appropriate for Easter on it, but it was this beautiful pie chart that said stuff that we know, and it was just this little sliver. And then it said stuff that we know that we don't know, and it was this bigger sliver. And then the rest of the chart, this huge chart, was stuff that we don't even know that we don't know. And that reminds me of Hamlet when he says, "There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt up in your philosophy." And if we think about that, I know a little bit, and I know that I don't know a lot more, but there is so much out there that I don't even know that I don't know, so I don't even know how to ask about it because I don't even know about it to ask about it. And so then the question becomes, what do we know? And how much are we willing to expand that little piece of the pie chart to say there might even be things that we don't know yet? And are we open to thinking about that and learning about some of those things? And so, what do I know about Easter? I know the story. Is it a literal story? That I don't know. Did the Easter story change the world? Yes, I believe it did because it brought in a new understanding and world paradigm that came into our human awareness as people throughout the years processed the life and death of Jesus. Is the Easter story true? Well, I guess that depends on which level of consciousness you're coming from. Which level of understanding? Do we understand it as literal? Maybe. Is it true if we understand it as metaphor? Maybe. Do we understand it as spiritual truth? And does that make it true? Maybe. As I was pondering these questions, I thought about what was the Easter story really like for Jesus? How did he understand his role in all of this? What would he have thought? And here's what came to me this morning when I thought, how might he answer this question that I posed to him? What might he say? Might he say something like, I know that I'm different. I don't see the world the way most of the people around me see the world. I see in some things so much more than most people seem to see. I see beauty and I see joy and I see love, and I can't help but feel compassion for everybody around me. I want to express this. I need to express this. I can't be in this world otherwise. And yet, so few people understand. Thank God for my friend Mary. She gets it. Peter tries. My mother understands me in a way that only a mother can, but she worries about me. They are worshiping me. But even as they worship me, they are setting me apart from them. They are setting me up as the other, as something they can no longer relate to. And so they put me on this pedestal. And I wonder how long it will be until they knock me off. I send them love. I simply send them love today while they're cheering me, and I will send them love in a week when they are jeering me. I understand that I am love. I am. What they don't understand is that I will still be love when I am no longer in physical form. And that is what will remain. That is what will remain 2,000 years later for a minister in a small town in a country called the United States who's trying to make sense of my life story. Really, the only thing she needs to hold on to is the love. If she can comprehend that, she comprehends my story. And then it becomes her story. This story is about my love and how it was expressed in one human life, and how that expression of love transformed and transforms people to this day. That doesn't make me God. It makes me a human being who chose love. And look at the difference it made. I wonder if he might say something like that. And we've all felt it when we're aligned with something larger than ourselves, when we are in the midst of creating something, music or art, or just that feeling of connection with a friend or a loved one or a child. We all have those little glimpses. The only difference is that we move in and out of them with the majority of our life not being aligned with that sense of truth and love. Jesus was an example of a person who stayed in alignment with that, and he expressed his life through that alignment. And that's why we can relate to him, and also why we can't. That's why people wanted to love him and worship him, and then they wanted to crucify him. We get out of that alignment when we try to be in that alignment, because then we are forcing something. We are not becoming something. And the ironic part is we're always becoming it anyways. We just don't know it even when we're trying to force it. And in contrast, Jesus never distanced himself from the people around him. He never saw them as the other. They separated themselves from him, not the other way around. And so when I think of this alignment, I get it, and then I don't get it, and then I get it, and then I don't get it. And the only difference between Jesus and any of the rest of us is, like I said, that he just stayed in that alignment. And then when he touched people, they went into that alignment too. Jesus simply expressed that truth and reminded the rest of us that it's always there to align with. Because as A Course in Miracles states, love waits on welcome, not on time. And this truth, this alignment has no beginning and no ending. It's just there waiting for people to tap into it. And occasionally we tap into it, and then we move back out in a perfect human dance. As we become who we are meant to become, we remember, and then we forget, and then we remember again. And A Course in Miracles describes this beautifully. It says, listen, perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody, attached not to a person or a place or anything particular, but you remember from just this little part how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. Perhaps this dimly remembered state that we have each experienced, this remembering, might be called the resurrection. And either way, I know this rose will open. And now,
Spiritu Creatore, vieni, 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 Spiritu Creatore, vieni, vieni, come and pray in us, Holy Spirit, come and pray in us, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, Spirit come, Spirit come, Vene Spiritu, Vete Divina, ven, Señor, ven Espíritu, fuente de vida, ven Señor, ven Señor. Come and pray in us, Holy Spirit, come and pray in us, Holy Spirit, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, come and visit us, praise us, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, Spirit, us, Spirit, Spirit, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, come and visit us, praise us, come and visit us, Holy Spirit, Spirit.